All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about whether or not the NBA has a 3 point problem. We're going to be analyzing a clip from inside the NBA as well as talking about stats, going over figures, and figuring out if I believe it is a problem and what I believe a solution to this problem, if there is one, is. So let's go ahead and get this shit started.
108 threes. Celtics shot below 40% in a game for the first time this season. Celtics 14 of 56 from three. Bulls 19 of 52.
Wow, that's a lot of threes, man. And it's interesting. There's a great debate going on why our ratings are down and people are not interested in NBA. And the guy was on the great Dan Patrick show. He asked me about, is it threes or load management? And I said, it's probably a combination of both. I don't think guys want to, number one, guys are making a lot of money and don't want to play back-to-back games. That's going to turn the average fan off.
I'm not sure if load management is that big of an issue nowadays. I know that was a huge issue a couple years ago even. But, I turn on any game, and for the most part, I'm seeing the star player play. I'm seeing Donovan Mitchell on the floor. I'm seeing Sexton on the floor. I'm seeing shell of himself, but Joel Embiid when he's not injured. Kyrie, I'm seeing Luka, Clay, LeBron, AD. I know that load management was a problem. I'm not sure it's that big of a problem right now. But, yeah, I think the 3-point problem, it's an interesting topic. I'm going to see what they have to say about it. My view right now that I'll put out there is I feel like it's just a mismanagement of threes. And I'll explain what I mean by that a little later.
But if you're just going to come out and have a 3-point shooting contest every night,
Don't you think that's coaching style too, though?
Well, if
I'm coaching, I'm going to run plays that are different that would not allow.
No, but it's a
my
copycat.
team.
It's a copycat league.
I was going to ask that question. Why? If I'm trying to win a championship, why? If I don't have the same personnel as you, why would I use your strategy?
Yeah, I mean,
But because it's a copycat league. These coaches, they see other people doing it, and they don't. They're so
But you don't
scared to
have the
coach their
personnel.
team.
Everybody don't have
I understand. First,
I don't know about that. I don't know if I disagree with him, but I don't know why a coach would do that. You know what I mean? It's like, if I am a coach, I don't know why I would sit here and try to make it so my team shoots 33s and I hand off 12 of them to someone who's just not a good 3-point shooter. I don't understand it. If I'm the Charlotte Hornets coach, am I really taking as much threes as, say, a Boston Celtic team? Which I guess the answer is yes, and we'll go over that in a minute, but that's crazy. I don't know. I don't want to say it's a copycat league. If you're a coach, I would assume if you're a good coach, you would have your own game plan, but the amount of threes been taken this season is kind of crazy. And the teams that are doing it is what makes it crazy, but let's keep going.
well, you're 100% right. But I think these coaches are scared to coach these players because the players have so much power.
And no disrespect to the Chicago Bulls, but there's no reason they should ever shoot 53s. There's not enough great shooters on
In the
their
NBA,
team, on their
period.
team. No, let's start there.
Okay.
We could talk the other one, but they took over 50 tonight.
Yeah, Levine took 11, Patrick Williams took 9, Lonzo took 7, and then a bunch of guys took 5.
There's no great shooters on their team to shoot that many. I'm singling them out because they played in that game tonight.
Right.
But
I do agree with that, and that's what I'm getting at. This is where my mismanagement take is going to start to come in. I feel like the 3-point problem can be a problem. I'm not fully convinced it 100% is the problem. I'll show why. I think the biggest issue right now is the mismanagement. Who's taking these threes? You know what I mean? If a Steph Curry is shooting 15 threes, it's going to look better than an Andre Drummond, and obviously this is exaggeration to the fullest. But what I'm getting at is, if you know that a player is good at the 3-point line or 3-point area, if you know that the player is good and he can make a decent amount of threes, versus a player who's terrible when it comes to their 3-point percentage, you're probably going to opt in to watching the person that's good at the 3-point area, whether it's from the wing, top of the key, it don't matter. you're gonna be like, oh shit, this is more exciting to watch versus watching somebody who's gonna brick it every time. So yeah, mismanagement of threes on who's actually taking these 3-pointers. I feel like that's the detriment, but
I could go down the list.
Well, the Bulls also set the record a few weeks ago or a week ago with the Hornets with the most missed threes in the history of the NBA.
It's just.
And that is what we're gonna get to.
See,
that just helps Kenny's point.
Yeah, it's just an understanding of, like, there is a style of play to be confusing. Do you want to confuse the defense at times and say, you think we're doing this, but we actually get that?
And I got to say something you said in the back.
What's that?
Remember we watched the game, it was a 2-on-1.
Oh,
and the dude could have got a layup
on the Knicks,
and he went out to the 3-point line. It was a 2-on-1,
and he ran to the 3.
And he instead of.
You'd be shocked how many plays I actually seen like that this season. That is a bit frustrating. That is a bit frustrating. That's why I say I'm not fully convinced on my take that it's just mismanagement. It could be a bevy of two. It's just that is extremely frustrating when you have 2 players, right? One that's going into the paint, one that's following you. It's 2-on-1, and you decided to take it out for a 3-point attempt. I will play pickup ball sometimes. It'll be like 3-on-1, and the guy will just run out to take a 3. Like it is annoying, but it's pickup ball, so I'm like whatever. But when I see shit like that's happening in pickup ball, happening in the NBA, yeah, that's an issue.
Just getting a layup, he flared out, and Kenny says, "Did that dude just flare out on the 3?" I said, "Dude."
So my question to the panel is: will it ever go back to where each coach, each city has a different strategy?
I think at first
Utah
Denver
played a certain
I think
way.
Denver
you guys
did
played
it
a certain way,
and that's when they won the championship because they had Jokic, a guy who can play inside and outside, who will take timely threes, but he doesn't live on the 3.
Because I'm tired of seeing that damn top of the key 3-man weave, dribble hand, pick off the shooter.
I think
I'm tired of seeing 2 guys stand in the corner, run here, and then run to the other corner.
The one team you mentioned earlier, the Memphis Grizzlies are not running that kind of a system.
Not at all.
If you want to watch, you don't want to watch this basketball, the Memphis Grizzlies. The only thing I want to say, just to stand up for the league, is Jalen Williams in Oklahoma City, man, they're fun to watch. Victor Wembanyama,
no question.
that is special. The talent in today's game is phenomenal.
No question.
And I think it's still a great game.
But
dumbass 3-man.
Listen, Lefko. If you just sing high notes, it's not a great song.
Very true.
It's not a great song if you just sing at the highest note.
You're the Bee Gees.
That's it. You got
to be hey.
That's not true.
That's not
listen, man.
the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees.
If you said something bad about the Bee Gees,
not at all.
I'll whoop your ass on national television. You do not talk about them guys.
But I would love
Bee Gees
to auto-tune you to the Bee Gees.
I listen to the Bee Gees all the time.
Can you give us some right now?
Well, I fell in love with the Bee Gees when they were doing Staying Alive.
Okay. So that was inside the NBA crew talking about the 3-point problem. I do agree, like having a player like Jokic take like 2 a game. He's sitting at 50% right now, but he takes like 2 a game. You know, when he takes it, he's probably gonna make it. Like that's just better to look at. Here's my thing. Right? If we look at the league average, okay. This has been, 3-point attempts per game since 2005. Obviously, I'm not going to count 2005. Let's just look at the last 5 years here, since 2020, okay? They were sitting at 34 attempts per game, going up to 35. It dips back down in 2022 to 34, back to 35, and now to 37.6. This is a large increase. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not. This is a large increase. The way I see it, though, if we look at points per game, I know that a lot of people are complaining about points. There's 2 points per game than there was even the last 2 seasons. Less. 112.9 this season to 114 the last season, 114.7 in 2022-2023. So when I see shit like this, it's like, okay, people are saying lack of defense. I'm not sure about that because, again, points per game is lower. Rebounds per game seem to be on par. Assists per game seems to be on par. steals per game actually has gone up. So blocks per game has gone up. Field goals made is staying on par. And field goal attempts is staying on par. So the way I'm looking at this is like defense, if anything, is just improving. Offense, it just seems to be stagnant. And the 3 points are at a ridiculously high level. 37.6. It may not sound like a lot, but on a statistical level, like these are 2 point or a point deviation above normal. Like this is a jump. This is a jump. It's not as massive as a jump from 2015 to 2016. But what happened from 2015 to 2016? What's the lovely little team that we call the Splash Brothers? Really, it started back in 2014, 2013 even. But, you know, this jump makes sense. There, I'll show you guys. This jump makes sense. But the jump from here to here, it's a little confusing on why that happened. Again, not as serious as the jump up there, but it's a bit, it's something to talk about. It's something that doesn't really make that much sense on why so many threes are being taken by so many teams. And people are saying that the three is the reason. The three is the reason that the league is boring and viewership is down. I'm going to give y'all 3 reasons. 3 reasons. Okay? That I feel. 1. Too many streaming platforms. 2. Too many teams play with the 3-point option. And 3. Too many players rush their offense. Well, I guess too many teams rush their offense, I should say. Rush their offensive possession. Okay, so what do I mean by too many streaming platforms, okay? I think, what all do I need to see every NBA game? Okay, how to watch every game plus the full schedule, right? So, you would need ABC, ESPN Network, TNT, NBA TV, DirecTV, Amazon Prime Video, NBA League Pass, and then Hulu Live TV or YouTube TV. This season, NBA games will air across ESPN, ESPN2, ABC, TNT, NBA TV, and then, of course, the streaming platforms. Now, I think this is a problem because let's say we get a live TV. I know that right now they got Fubo TV, Hulu Live TV, so let's say that's like $75, okay? And now in HBO Max, they got games on there as well. I need to get that. It's marquee games every now and then. So let's say that's plus $15. 75 plus 15, we're at 90. League Pass, that's about $13.99 a month. But let's just knock it down to a 10. We'll just say 10 just to stay at an even number. So that's 100. Prime Video, that's around 15 a month. So now we're at 115. In order to see, if I'm a ball watcher, in order to see 90% of the games that I want to see, marquee games, even my own team, I have to pay upwards to $110 to $115 a month just to watch my favorite teams play. That can be a problem. That can be a huge problem. Okay? I know that what people are going to say, the NFL may be doing something similar to that effect, and that may be true. But the NFL is on Netflix and live TV. I understand that there's some games on Amazon and shit like that. But for the most part, that's where most of the games are. And you'll have like one game on the streaming platforms, like on a Peacock. I don't even know if the NFL had a Peacock game this year, or one game on Prime. But what helps the NFL is that they have like only so many games they have. Like for the most part, most of the games you buy their red zone package, you're gonna see most of it. Like that's it, because it's only 18 games for each team, versus the NBA there's 82 games, and there's probably gonna be more games you're leaning towards watching versus more games that you don't care much about. So yeah, I think that could be an issue. That's one of the issues I feel that's falling on the NBA, on their viewership going down. Now, the Bulls and the Hornets, they missed, here I'll move my little screen for y'all. They missed a combined 75 three-pointers in a game. 75 three-pointers. That's ridiculous. This goes to what I was saying with mismanagement. Okay? This is what I'm saying about mismanagement. There's no reason that 75 three-pointers should be taken. Ever. Ever. Missed. 75 is ridiculous. Right? And I know a lot of y'all are saying there's no way that this game was barely watched. I mean, yeah, if we look at the highlights, 98,000 views. Right? They got 98,000 views. Not too hot. Not too good. Not a lot of people was fucking with it. Which is fair, because they missed a combined 75 three-pointers. Which is absolutely disgusting. Now imagine how many they attempted. That's not okay. That's not okay. So, why do I say it's mismanagement of threes? Isn't this proving the point? Like, hey, three-pointers is really the problem. Overshooting the threes is the problem. Well, this is why I think it's a problem. I think it's just mismanagement. Because we had Golden State and the Dallas Mavericks set a combined 48 made three-pointers. They shot a total of 95 threes. It was a 143-133 victory. And this game was talked about on ESPN, NBA. Not only that, look at the view difference. So we saw the highlights got 98,000 views for the Hornets and Bulls game. The highlight for this game got 1.3 million views. People watched it. People liked it. You know why people liked it? Because threes were being made. My opinion on the whole thing is that I think too many teams are taking threes that shouldn't be taking threes. I think too many teams are relying on the threes way too much. I think that the streaming platforms are getting to a ridiculous point when it comes to what games you can or can't watch. If you're the NFL and you only have like 18 games per team, that's fine. But when you have 82 games, splitting up like 20 games, 20 games, 20 games, 20 games, it's ridiculous considering you might want to see out of each of those 20 games, maybe upwards to 5 of 10 of them in those 20 game sets. And you need YouTube TV and Amazon Prime and HBO Max, and you need to see those 10 games each out of that 20 game set that you really want to see. You need each and every one of these platforms, and that's just not acceptable versus the NFL, where it's like, oh, you know, I know that one of these games is on Prime, and one of these games is on Netflix, and one of these games is on HBO, but I have HBO, so I'll watch it, or I have Netflix, so I'll watch it. I don't really care about seeing the 2 other games. My teams aren't playing on it, and I could care less about watching those 2 other games, and I can see the rest of them fine with the NFL Red Zone that I have. What's the point of buying League Pass if I'm missing a chunk of the games that I would really want to see? So that's my conclusion in all this. I think it's mismanagement of threes. Oh, I didn't talk about rushing possession. I feel like the offensive possession's being rushed like crazy. I see teams that are pulling up with 12 seconds left on the shot clock, 13, 14 seconds left. And that happens. That happens. I'm not saying every possession has to come down to the last 3 seconds of the shot clock. What I'm saying is you have a shot clock for a reason. Why don't you use it? Facilitate it. You know, I see somebody try to do a little shimmy at the 3-point line and pull up with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. And it's like, why? It doesn't make sense to me, considering you have a whole shot clock to get a play ready. 15 seconds, you can set up 12 seconds. You can set up an entire play. If your play is broken, you can find a better shooter at the 3-point line, a more open shooter. But I feel like a lot of these possessions are rushed, and a lot of them end up being because of the 3. So that's my opinion on all this. I feel like in order to fix it, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I feel like they just need to pull back a little bit on the defensive rules. I know that some people are saying, oh, you know, let's make it so they have a 3-point limit. I think that's stupid. Don't punish good teams that are good from shooting 3 because a bad team wants to shoot a combined 75 missed threes. I think we should make it so if you are playing on defense, you're allowed a little more leeway. Let's bring back some hand checking. Let's give a little more leeway to the defense, you know, so they're able to step up a little bit. I get not being in their landing area. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying risk the safety of the offensive players. What I'm saying, though, is that there should be more leeway. Like, a lot of players don't want to guard the 3 because of that fucking kick out my leg. He fouled me. Like, let's make the foul calls more blatant. Let's stop giving it to them. And yeah, let's have a mixture of both defense and offense when it comes to like the rule set. You know what I mean? I know that we want to give offense people like flashy scores, but let's bring it back. Obviously, the viewership is down. I feel like streaming has a lot to do with that. I feel like bad offensive possessions has a lot to do with that, and just bad 3-point management on who's taking it has a lot to do with that. But at the end of the day, these numbers, the defensive numbers, are starting to go up. So I say, fuck it. Let's just make it easier for them. Let's make it easier for them. Let's make it easier for the defensive player to guard an offensive player. Let's not hamper them in their entirety so that the offensive player can just chuck up combined 75 3-point missed a game. But that's my opinion on this. I'm not sure what they're gonna do to fix it. I'm not sure if there is even anything being talked about. Adam Silver right now has his plate fucking full with the goddamn All-Star game and them not even wanting to play in that. But that's something for another day. That's a conversation for another day. I think I just heard myself echo. Anyway, sorry. Let's see. Has Adam Silver talked on this? 3-point problem. Adam Silver said regarding the NBA's examination with game action, I would not reduce it to so-called 3-point shooting issue. I think we look more at holistically at the skill level on the floor, the diversity of the game, the fan reception of the game, all the above. I think the game is in a great place. Okay, so Adam Silver is just kind of delusional. The game's in a great place, yes. And the offensive players are way better than they have been, and the players are just more skilled than they have been in years before. That's also something people need to understand as well. The 3-point shit is a problem, but at the end of the day, we are, like, as a league, just more skilled. I know there's old heads that want to sit here and talk about how the 80s was actually the prime, okay? But it's just, I'm sorry, the skill that the NBA players have now is on another level. So there is that. Because we can't act like every single possession in the 80s and 90s, they were just straight guard, like, gritty. It's like, I've seen, you can go on YouTube, you can watch these games. I've seen these games, these defensive sets. They're not anything crazy, dog. Like, there were several players left open, a lot. They just weren't as skilled. So skill also has a factor to do with it. I'm not going to sit here and act like there isn't a three-point problem. There definitely is. But I'm also not going to sit here and act like the players aren't way more skilled than they were back in the day. What can we do to fix this problem? I'm not fully sure. I think the best thing we can do is, like I said, just give the defense a little more leeway as far as what they can and can't do. Not to the point of where they're hurting offensive players, but just a little more leeway. But I don't think we should punish teams for taking threes, especially if you're a good three-point taking team. That's not fair to you, considering that there's other teams that are missing 75 combined threes. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you think we should do. Do you all agree? Do we fix it so defensive players can go ahead and have more leeway? Speaking of an Amazon Prime game. Anyway, do we fix it so there's more defensive possessions to where they're able to be more lax? Do we fix it to where you think there should be a three-point counter to how many threes you can take per game? Like, what do y'all think? What do you think is the solution to the three-point problem in the NBA? And do you think that streaming is an issue as far as like the ratings go? Do you think if they decided to pull back on all these platforming deals that they have and maybe cut it down from like 5 to 3 or even 2 platforms, if ratings would go up? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that Adam Silver needs to get out of this deluded state of thinking like nothing has to be done, because that's not gonna work. But let me know what y'all think. I hope you have a good one. Merry Christmas Eve, and peace out, y'all.